How's it going, peeps? It is now time for the Smackdown results / highlights and review video. I'll go over the results, some of the highlights in my opinion, and give you guys my thoughts, my review on the show. So it kicks off with the Usos coming down the ring, and they have a match up against Erick Rowan and Luke Harper of the Wyatt family. And the matchup starts right away with some quick, action. You have the Usos jumping from inside the ring to the outside, and that's very early on in the matchup. And the match lasted like a maximum of 2 minutes, no more than that. So I should have known from like the quick, start to the matchup where they right away go for, some big spots. But yeah, like I was saying, it was a really quick matchup, 2 minutes max. In the end of the match, you have one of the Usos running the ropes. Luke Harper tries to catch him with a big boot, but he ducks. And then Erick Rowan, who's on the apron, punches the Uso. And then when he turns around, Luke Harper hits him with the discus clothesline. He tags in Erick Rowan, who hits a big splash, covers him, wins the match. After the match, Bray Wyatt gets in the ring, and he grabs one of the Usos that was on the outside of the ring, and he puts him back in the ring, hits Sister Abigail on him, and that's it. Following that, you've got John Cena coming down the ring, cuts a promo on New Year's resolutions, makes a couple jokes, and then he says his New Year's resolution is to gain 40 pounds. And then he's like, oh, wait a minute, if I do the math, I could do that tonight by winning the WWE World Heavyweight Championship because that weighs 40 pounds. So pretty much he's challenging Orton to a matchup right now on SmackDown, but Randy never comes out. Instead, the Shield's music hits, they come out, surround the ring, get inside the ring, attack John Cena, but then Mark Henry's music hits, he comes out for the save, but it's still 3 on 2, so they still have the advantage until E Langston's music hits. He comes running down the ring, and he helps Cena and Mark Henry out, and they all take out the Shields. And then you have Kane coming out, and pretty much he announces 3 singles matches, one of them being Mark Henry versus Roman Reigns, the other being E Langston versus Dean Ambrose, and the third one being Seth Rollins versus John Cena. And then after that, you have Renee Young interviewing Randy, asking him what his New Year's resolution is. And he goes on to talk about how, he's already surpassed everybody, and that he might just enter the Rumble, win that matchup, and have the night off at WrestleMania. Just watch the show, and then he says, and after that, the night after, induct myself into the Hall of Fame. So Dolph Ziggler then interrupts, and he pokes fun at Orton, saying, oh, I didn't know there was a Hall of Fame for spineless cowards or something along those lines. And pretty much he's kind of challenging Orton to a matchup, saying that he's going to be the one to shut Randy up. And then Kane breaks them up and says, to calm down and to settle this in the ring. Following that, Cody and Goldust came out to the ring. It was Cody Rhodes versus Antonio Cesaro, one-on-one. And as far as this match goes, as far as the ending of the match, Jack Swagger gets on the apron to distract Cody. Cody punches him off the apron, and that slight distraction allows Antonio Cesaro to follow up with an uppercut to the back of Cody, rolls him up, and wins the match. Following that, it was the Primetime Players versus Ryback, and PTP won the match when Curtis Axel rolled up Darren Young for a roll-up. And Darren Young countered that with a roll-up of his own and got the victory. Man, there's been a lot of roll-ups lately, both on Raw and SmackDown. But I'm happy that the Primetime Players did score a victory here. It's like, since they had that little push a couple months back, they haven't been winning too many matches. So good to see the PTP, picking up a victory. And after that, it was Randy versus Dolph Ziggler. It was an okay matchup. You had Dolph Ziggler at some point going for a bulldog, or what looked to be a bulldog, but actually turned that into a Faymacer. But Randy kicked out, and then Randy got in the corner, and Dolph followed him, started punching him a couple times, and then the referee separated Ziggler from Orton so he doesn't get disqualified. And then when Ziggler came back to, I guess, deliver some more punches, Randy hits a thumb to the eye, and then follows that up with the RKO, covers him, and wins the match. After the match, he throws Dolph Ziggler out of the ring. He smashes his head against the announcer's table, smashes Dolph's head against the steel steps, or throws him on the steel steps, then smashes Dolph's head on the apron, smashes Dolph's head on the ring post, and then throws him over the barricade. And at that point, I'm like, alright, I can see where this is going. And I was right, he goes for the DDT on the concrete or on the floor, and he hits it, and that was it. Afterwards, the Shield cut a promo on each one of their opponents, so E Langston, Mark Henry, and John Cena. And then you had Daniel Bryan versus Damien Sandow, another short matchup. And, well, the only short match so far, the only non-short match so far was Randy versus Dolph Ziggler. But anyways, yeah, Daniel Bryan versus Damien Sandow, short matchup, but for the time it got, I thought it was a pretty entertaining match. And, the ending of the match came when Daniel Bryan was delivering his kicks. He misses the last kick, so Damien Sandow rolls him up, but Daniel Bryan kicks out, and right after he kicks out, he delivers the last kick, follows that up with the running knee, and picks up the victory. After the match, you have the lights turning off, and then Bray Wyatt cuts a promo on Daniel Bryan, saying, they've stuck him with so many daggers, but he's still walking upright. So Bray Wyatt says he admires that courage, but he says Daniel Bryan doesn't realize who's controlling this inferno. And then after that, you had the Shield coming out for their matches against, E Langston, John Cena, and Mark Henry. And what they did here is they pretty much, they were all three of them, or all six of them, came out, and they had the matches one after the other. First one was Dean Ambrose versus E Langston. Another short match, very quick pace. It wasn't a slow matchup because the matchup was quick. The matchup didn't last long. It was really quick. Yeah, Dean Ambrose. At some point, I think Dean Ambrose threw E Langston on the outside. And Reigns and Seth Rollins kind of slowly walked close to E Langston as if they were going to attack him or something like that. But then John Cena and Mark Henry make sure to, defend E Langston, or, make sure that the Shield doesn't interfere or do anything. And then Dean Ambrose gets out of the ring, and he kind of pushes Roman Reigns out of the way. And you can see Roman Reigns, kind of not liking that. Dean Ambrose says, he's going to take care of this himself. He throws E Langston back in the ring, and I believe at this point, he runs towards E Langston. E Langston ducks, hits him with a clothesline, and shortly after he follows that up with the big ending. Covers him and wins. So, Team Big E, Cena, and Mark Henry pick up the first victory. And then, after that, it was time for Mark Henry versus Roman Reigns. Another short matchup. Henry overpowered Reigns in the beginning, but after a while, Roman Reigns started picking up some momentum. He hit the Superman punch, and he followed that with the spear on Mark Henry for the 3 count, so he beats Mark Henry, and he beat him clean. There was absolutely no interference, no distraction, no anything. So, pretty impressive victory for Reigns there. And then, it was John Cena versus Seth Rollins. And let me tell you guys, if you guys missed this match, if you guys didn't catch this match, it was a great matchup, and I suggest you guys watch that match. It was the match of the night. Seth Rollins really stole the show, and he really delivered. He freaking did some awesome moves, some awesome counters. At some point in the match, it seemed like John Cena was, gaining the momentum. He was closing in on hitting his signature moves. He goes for the spin out back suplex, but Seth Rollins counters it by backflipping out of it, and then he falls that up right away with a complete shot on the second turnbuckle on John Cena. And also, at some point in the match, Seth Rollins hit the Shiranu. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right or wrong, but if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, basically it's sliced bread number 2, Brian Kendrick's finisher. But instead, Seth Rollins doesn't do it from the turnbuckle, he does it standing up. So he hits that move on John Cena, but John Cena kicks out. He also hit the turnbuckle or jumping knee. Sometimes he hits it, by springboarding and then hitting it, or from the top turnbuckle. This time he hit it from the top turnbuckle. And he really got some awesome moves in, and then he went for his finisher, the blackout, but John Cena countered it with the STF, and Seth Rollins was close to the ropes. He grabbed the ropes right away, and right after he grabbed them, you see Dean Ambrose, getting in the ring to try and interfere, but E Langston clotheslines Dean Ambrose, takes him down, making sure he doesn't interfere. Big E also follows Dean Ambrose to the outside, but Roman Reigns freaking hits a flying clothesline on Big E, but then Mark Henry grabs Roman Reigns and throws him over the announcer's table like a toy or whatever. And after that, you see Seth Rollins jumping or springboarding, trying to hit a springboard crossbody on John Cena inside the ring. John Cena catches him, rolls through, puts him up for the attitude adjustment, hits it, and wins the match. It was, seriously guys, a great matchup. So, what did I think about the show? Highlights, man, highlights. The ending of the show, the entire 3 matches of the Shield, one after the other. I thought that was cool. I thought Reigns versus Henry, the idea of Reigns versus Henry is cool. I like the fact that Reigns, picked up the victory clean. And also the Seth Rollins versus John Cena match was the best match of the night with tons of highlights in the matchup. Seth Rollins pulling off some cool maneuvers, some cool counters. And, while, as far as the rest of the show, most of the matches were really short. But, despite that, I thought all the matches made the most out of the time they had. Daniel Bryan versus Damien Sandow was a short matchup, but it was a fun match to watch. Same goes with the opening matchup, the Usos versus Erick Rowan and Luke Harper. It was a short match, but they got to the action. They pulled off some cool spots right away. So, despite a lot of short matches, it was a fun show, and I really liked the ending. And what else? What else was there? Yeah, Dolph Ziggler versus Randy was also one of the long matches. The 2 long matches of the show were John Cena versus Seth Rollins and Randy versus Dolph. But out of the 2, by far, Seth Rollins and John Cena really sold the show, in my opinion. So that is, I think, pretty much all I've got to say. And as far as, which I like better, this week's SmackDown or this week's Raw, I definitely have to go with this week's SmackDown. This week's Raw, it was the Christmas edition of Raw. The Christmas edition of really any, show, really, it usually isn't the same as the regular version. Normal Raws, when you miss out on, let's say, a normal episode of Raw, not a Christmas edition or something like that, you're usually missing out on some important storyline progression. But a Christmas Raw, something like that, usually it's just random matches. But on that Raw, the best part of the show for me was definitely the Batista promo, the return promo. This week's SmackDown was a pretty great SmackDown. So, as far as a rating, I would give tonight's SmackDown I don't know, I guess a 7.5 to 8 on 10. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, as always, you can click that like button down below. I'd really appreciate it. And with that said, I'm out, guys. See ya.